In all his years of baseball, Pop Davis, manager of the House of David 9, had never taken as much sheer nonsense from a player as he had from Slim Hadley. True, Slim was as fine a semi-pro hurler as Pop had ever known, and the aged manager had known plenty of fine pitchers. But never had any one of them been just like Slim Hadley, this lanky rebel who took the game so lightly, yet played so well. Why, he hadn't even shown up for the first few innings of the ball club's last game. And 2 games before that, he'd reported to the field with his foot-long beard dyed a dazzling emerald green. This sort of thing was bad for the morale, mused Pop. Very bad, especially on the House of David 9, where a player's beard was as important as his uniform. More important, a full-length beard was an absolute essential to every man on the team. Why, take this game with the Oakville Oilers, for example. Pop had signed a contract that required the players on his team to wear a beard at least 1 foot long. There was even a special umpire on hand whose sole duty was to measure the beards. And now, with the game scheduled to get underway in 5 minutes, the House of David was minus the services of their star pitcher. Slim had promised Pop faithfully that he'd be on hand an hour before game time for a warm-up. But he hadn't put in an appearance. Even if the pitcher showed up in time, thought Pop Davis, he couldn't go right into the game. He'd have to warm up some. Pop wouldn't let him risk injuring that right arm of his, even if he was a reckless fool. But if Pop had visions of starting the second inning with Slim Hadley in the pitcher's box, he was plumb wrong. Slim didn't show up for the second inning, nor the third, nor the fourth. And going into the fifth, the House of David looked as unstable as if an army of starving termites had held war maneuvers in its foundation. Watching the ball game from the pits, Pop Davis had a lump like the Rock of Gibraltar in his throat. It hurt the old boy to see his bearded buddies go down in flames. Here they were trailing by 3 runs, with the Oakville Oilers clicking like a fine watch, and playing with a fervor surpassed only by Pop's muttered avowals to skin Slim alive for letting his teammates down this way. Oh! The clean-cut sound of that hit brought Pop to his feet with a groan. He watched in dismay as an Oakville batter raced around the bags for a home run. Now his lads were trailing by 4 runs, 4-0, and the game not half over. Pop's knees sagged weakly. He sat down to reconcile himself to what would probably be the worst shellacking in the annals of baseball. And to think that this had to happen to him, just when he was being considered for a managership on one of the nation's leading pro ball clubs. The years he'd been putting in, working his way up from a bat boy to what? Pop Davis's destiny rested in the hands of one Slim Hadley, who at this very moment was probably lying under a table in the pool hall. Oh, there it was again. And listen to the crowd, that old cry, everybody hits. Yeah, and Pop Davis was taking those hits right on the chin. Well, that wasn't so bad. The center fielder had raced back near the fence and pulled in that last hit as neatly as if the ball were a pigeon coming home to roost.
Well, that's 2 away,
muttered Pop.
Maybe some of the boys are tightening up. Maybe we'll win this game without Slim.
If only we could do that.
I'd like to kick that flagpole-framed flathead off this man's team.
Pop's musing was cut short. He groaned in dismay as he watched an Oakville Oiler amble around the bases for an easy 3-bagger. Inwardly, he longed to see a certain flagpole-framed flathead put in an appearance. There was still time to win this game. If only Slim were here to relieve that tired rookie that Pop had been forced to send out to the pitching mound. Everybody hits. Yeah, and everybody scores. The man on third was streaking for home.
Third!
And another run chalked up for the Oakville Oilers. Pop turned his head away.
What the devil?
There, over by the bleachers, someone was arguing with the gatekeeper. Someone who looked darn familiar to Pop's tired eyes. Someone whom Pop wanted to have the personal satisfaction of placing on a torture rack. But right now, he wanted this big galoot to play baseball. Plenty of time later to ask questions and listen to harebrained answers. Pop started for the scene of the gatekeeper's powwow on the double run.
Hey, what's the trouble, boys? Slim Hadley, where in the devil you been?
No, honest, Pop, I've been trying to get into the ballpark ever since the game started. Why, these dumb guys wouldn't let me by.
Well, couldn't you have showed them your player's pass?
No, I couldn't. I lost it. That is, I had it in my wallet, and somebody stole it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you mean you were gambling again, that's what.
No, I wasn't, Pop. Honest, I wasn't. Look, I'll tell you all about it after the game. That is, if you still want to let me play.
Huh? Let you play? Oh, yeah, well, I ought to fire you right off the team, but, well, I'll talk to you about that later. Now go on down, get into your uniform. Hurry up now.
All right, Pop. Say, you're not sorry to me, are you?
And why should I be? Don't you think we can get along without you? Just remember this, Slim. To the House of David, you're just like a spare room in the attic. Only needed when guests come to stay.
Yeah?
Yeah, but hurry up and get dressed, son. 5 of those guests have crossed the home plate already. Correction, 6.
As Slim Hadley hurried off to the dressing rooms, Pop started back to the pit. Remembering that the blundering gatekeepers were partially responsible for his star pitcher's 6th inning arrival, he paused to snap a few words at them over his shoulder.
Can't you clucks recognize a ball player when you see one?
One of the bewildered gatemen ventured a defense. Well, shucks, he didn't have his pass with him.
Well, so what? Couldn't you recognize Slim Hadley by his fiery red beard?
Red? That guy's beard wasn't red. It's snow white. Yeah, and I ain't one of the 7 dwarfs, see? I'm not supposed to let anybody in the park without their showing a pass.
All right. Go back to your gate. I got a ball team to manage.
That's a laugh. Maybe you don't know it, buddy, but today the mortgage is due on the House of David, and the Oakville Oilers are out to foreclose it. Pop allowed that parting insult to go by without a retort. He was worrying about other things. Things like Slim Hadley's beard. He'd been too excited to notice the color of the star hurler's chin bushes. But maybe they were white. Maybe Slim had gone on another spree and bleached his whiskers from red to white, all of which would turn Pop a sorry blue. For if this were the case, Slim might still be too shaky to play ball. The after effects of the sprees indulged in by that lanky chucker often kept him out of shape for days. Pop decided he'd better hike down to the locker room to determine what was what. Oh! Another hit, and the bat may just as well have been broken over Pop's bald head. It hurt that much. But wait a minute. That wasn't an Oakville batter who slammed that old horsehide over the fence. That was a House of David man, and he'd romped home with his whiskers blowing in the breeze. 1, 2, 6. The team must have seen Slim come on the field and head for that dressing room. The sight of his gangly form apparently had fired them up with renewed enthusiasm. That old ball game wasn't over yet, thought Pop. If only Slim is in the groove. As if mocking Pop's hopes for success, another dark cloud moved into the little manager's crowded mind. If Slim had bleached his beard, like the gatekeeper had said he did, maybe he trimmed it too. Maybe he'd trimmed it below the required 1-foot length of the contract Pop had signed with the Oakville Oilers manager. Poor Pop Davis. His heart raced wildly. Why did everything have to happen to him? Wasn't he an old man? Hadn't he lived a good, clean sportsman's life? While he was turning all this over in his mind, the little manager was hurrying down to the locker room. Halfway down the stairs, he bumped into Slim coming up. Easy there, Pop. You trying to break my neck?
Eh?
Oh, it's you.
Come on up here in the sunlight. I want to get a look at your beard. You did bleach it, didn't you?
Now look, Pop. Don't touch my beard, do you hear?
You haven't trimmed it none, have you, Sam?
Trimmed it? Well, of course not. Why?
Well, because if it's shorter than 1 foot, you can't play. That's why. I signed a contract on that, Slim.
Oh, you did, eh? Well, don't worry, Pop. I'll get by on the length.
Yeah, sure you will. On the length? Say, there isn't anything else wrong, is there?
I'll tell you about it later, Pop. I'm off to prop up the House of David. And that's just what Slim did. He didn't win that ball game single-handed, no. No, in fact, he made a few bad errors. But he fired his bewhiskered buddies up to such a fever pitch that they couldn't be beaten. The game ended in a near riot, and with the House of David on the long end of a 7-6 score. Pop Davis went wild with excitement. He forgot all about the things he was going to do to Slim. Besides, after the game, the locker room was jammed with enthusiastic fans and newspaper reporters. Pop decided there wasn't much room down there for his torture rack. He'd just have to forgive Slim again, I guess. That was all. Funny thing, though, all these people yelling for Slim, and he'd actually pitched the worst game of his life. Made lots of errors, too. Like the time he let that pop fly go through his hands. And instead of picking the ball up quick, he just stood there hanging onto his whiskers. Pop decided he'd have to ask Slim about that. He got his chance later that evening back in the hotel room.
How come you kept hanging on to your whiskers that way, son? Don't you think you gave them enough attention when you bleached them white?
Slim traced a pattern on the rug with the toe of his shoe. There's something I got to tell you, Pop. You see, the real reason I was late today is because I got married. Pop's eyes gleamed. He saw a chance at mild revenge.
Married, eh? Well, Slim, I'm awful sorry that I can't let you off to go on a decent honeymoon. We have our schedule to meet, you know.
Yeah, I figured you'd say that, Pop. But you may as well let me go, because... Well, just look what she made me do. She said she wouldn't marry me if I didn't. Pop's mouth dropped open. Then his heart sank down into his shoes until it crowded his feet. That Rock of Gibraltar lump came back in his throat and did several barrel rolls. And Pop Davis was staring unbelievingly at a star pitcher who couldn't legally play ball for the House of David again for some time to come. In fact, he'd been mighty lucky to get by the umpires today. It had been a mighty close shave. Slim Hadley was grinning at Pop Davis. Here, Pop. Incidentally, you can keep these false whiskers as a souvenir. They at least kept the House of David from falling today.